That's you on keyboards, isn't it?
It is, man. Tickling the ivories.
Tinkling.
Tickling.
Tickling.
Not tinkling.
What's the difference?
I wouldn't.
What's the, you don't tinkle an ivory?
I don't tinkle on the ivories.
Do you tickle ivories or do you
I tickle.
So the players.
You tickle, not
tickle
tinkle.
ivories. You don't tinkle the ivories.
What's his
That
name?
sounds like ting, 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 ting to
It's,
me.
what's his name? What's the guy that...
Liberace?
No. On Fire. What's the guy, the crazy piano player?
Jerry Lee Lewis?
Jerry Lee Lewis.
Thank you. He might be a guy who would
Tinkle.
on the ivories.
He probably did tinkle on a few ivories.
Not me.
You tickle the ivories.
Tickle.
He tinkles the
It's
ivories.
like very, get a good touch, right? Get a good...
You
Jeez.
do have a good touch. Hey, got some final thoughts on the match, and I thank all the callers for calling in. Appreciate your time today.
It's loaded up today.
It's really
Everybody's...
we really appreciate that one listener out there that wanted to call. But the last dig I have on it, and I'll say some of the good things. The last dig, the second the putt went in for Phil, before Tiger could shake his hand, the pay-per-view went off.
Did you even see Tiger shake his hand?
No, done. Black screen.
That's weird.
So it was like I wanted to see the post. Of course you want to hear their thoughts and and everything. And then I did find it later on Facebook with the PGA Live, PGA Tour Live. But
yeah.
But anyways, that was But the good things about it, I think the format would be great if it was the right two players. There could be something here, because the interaction between a caddy and the player was very intriguing. How they do the yardages, club
that was
choices.
cool. I did see.
And
I did
you
hear
got
that.
to really hear how they discuss it. And I can tell you one thing: it's a lot more complicated than I ever did. What iron is that? 7? Okay, give me the 7.
Exactly.
So, but it was fascinating, and the way they talked about it and how they worked around, and that could be better. And if there was better banter and two good players, although granted, Tiger's the number one want-to-watch person, so he was the perfect fit for pay-per-view because the world wants to see Tiger play. And this match has been coming a long time. It didn't live up to the hype.
And he finished the season. Tiger did so strong. I mean, how could you couldn't have a better person in that position?
There's no doubt. And Phil gave him love, man. He gave him love the whole time, and he deserves it. Tiger deserves all the credit he's getting. And that's why most people turned in. Matter of fact, it's funny because Vegas was 65% betting Tiger until the match started, and then it went flipped when Phil went up. Then almost went to they were tracking betting going on, who was betting.
So you
for
could
what.
bet while the match was going
If you're in Vegas or if you're someplace
Wow,
that
I
could
didn't know
bet,
that.
and they were on everything.
I wasn't going to bet on anything on that.
But anyways, it's just so I think with the right two players and then something to do in between the shots or show some highlights, I think it's doable. But you need the right. If it's going to be a show or if it's going to be a competition, they got to clarify that, because Tiger and Phil, they got into a competition. And so, of course, the banter is going to stop. And you imagine you're playing for the last hole coming up, and you needle the guy, and it's a $9 million hole, and you're thinking, do I needle this guy right now? Is that bad etiquette, or is that
it's
part of
different.
is it part of the game?
Well, and
Right?
and I think in fairness to both of them, this is something that hasn't been done on this scale before. So they're the guinea pigs. When it comes to that, I will tell you that what I saw, I saw the first two holes. The first hole to me was very entertaining because obviously there's the $200,000 on the line for Phil making a birdie putt, right?
He almost, man, it was pretty good shots in there.
And the banter at that point I thought was interesting. And I said, even though I knew I was only going to be able to see that hole in the second hole, I thought, well, if it carries on like that, that would be entertaining for me. I'd like to,
and it did not
see that.
Matter of fact, it almost stopped.
Well,
completely.
then I came back, and when I started watching it again, it was the 17th hole, and they were bantering. Like there was a par 5 on there. I think it was the 17th or 16th, where they were both kind of chuckling with each other. They were going to hit their tee shots, and they were kind of going back and forth. And I saw Tiger smiling, I saw Phil smiling, and the banter there was really good. So what I got was hole 1, 2, 17, 18, and all the playoff holes, and then. Of course, when they got into the final par 3.
That was 17 is when Tiger chipped in for the birdie.
Yeah, but the final par 3 after 18, the extra playoff holes, there's no...
I'd have a hard time swinging on a putting green.
Well, that was one thing. There were two things.
I'd have a hard time taking a divot out of a putting green.
I really would,
I think.
Yeah, there were two things that I actually, it was more than that. I think it's just my eye and from teaching and stuff. There are a couple things there that I noticed. One, when I saw that they were going off the putting green, well, that putting green is not flat. One, it's not. They tried to put it on a flat
flat as
tier,
possible.
but you could see those guys are downhill. And as you're watching these different wedge swings, because there's 3 of them each from 93 yards, you could see, if you were really paying attention, you could see how high and how they were adjusting the tee ball height.
That was
on
to
their
make
shots.
it a level. That was exactly
So
right.
the first shot Mickelson hit off the extra hole was flush to the ground.
Yep.
He didn't have it teed up hardly at all. Now, if you watch, the tee pops out of the ground, but the tee was so flush with the putting green, and he pulled it. He pulled it,
Yeah.
it hit and it released out.
It's a good little shot after Tiger hit the lady
Yeah.
in the leg and near the bunker up there.
And then you see Tiger get up there and he's got it teed up. I said to a couple of guys, I go, man, he's got that teed up pretty high.
For a 60-degree wedge,
Yeah.
too. It was insane.
And that's the first one. So then he comes back. They hit the second round of par 3 shots, and they show a camera angle
It's
when
teed up
Tiger gets
higher.
up there, and it's teed up higher.
Yeah.
And I go, whoa, that's amazing. So then I said, when we were all sitting there talking, a couple of guys, and I said, it's going to be interesting watching, because I'm watching Impact, and I said, watch if he really lets this thing release or not after he flew over and hit that lady in the chest, and the ball bounces practically on the green. And you see him hit that second wedge, and it released, and I thought, oh, God, he's going in the bunker. And it ended up on that weird kind of rough with a slider, and then Phil hits his, and I actually hit it pretty straight, and you see Phil now used a tee on the second one. He didn't use a tee on the first one. And then to get to the third one and see the third shot in on the par 3, you could see Tiger hold the wedge off, and he hit it completely straight over the pin. But it took him 3 shots to figure out that shot so that it wouldn't release, and so he could get some backspin on
And
it.
you also picked up the slight downhill, so it was just getting less loft. That's why they teed it up so high to
Exactly.
offset that slight downhill line.
Exactly.
So, but these are the best players in the world. They should hit a green from 93 yards away, right? It was, Phil did. He hit all 3 times. I was surprised Tiger went long twice. I really was surprised at that. But it was fascinating to see that. But notice how close they teed up to each shot, where they were on the tee box. Tiger was on the far right. He was on the far. That was fast. And they were right
interesting, too.
next to their divots, like they were on a range. Maybe they didn't want to take a bunch of holes in too big of an area on a putting green of one of the finest clubs in the country. I mean, that was pretty interesting.
I thought it was weird. I don't know. I guess maybe the timeline or something. I would think that with that much money on the line, they could have actually built a tee box and built a hole. I just think hitting off the putting green was a little chintzy. Like I think that was.
I think you're right, and I think they did it because that's where the convenience where the lights were.
Yeah,
So they needed to have lights in a certain area, and they didn't have many places they can go to hit to that green from a shorter distance. They could have gone back the fairway.
Yeah.
Right. They could have gone back in the fairway,
Exactly.
93 yards, and hit up onto that green.
Yeah.
Which probably would, but maybe it was dark over there. I mean, they needed lights where they can stand and lights on the green. But,
And I get it. I get all that
I
stuff
bet
logistically.
many
but-
people didn't think it was going to finish. Was it 30%? Thought it was going to finish tied.
Yeah,
all
I was
square.
surprised.
That a lot of people, or maybe it's less. I don't know the exact number, so don't quote me on that. But it wasn't very many that thought it was going to end up all square for the first 18. Probably they didn't either. So you're like, oh, it's dark now. The last hole was dark when they came in. It was, but I tell you one thing. I watched every minute of it and could probably hardly pull myself away. So there was something to it. So as disappointing as some of the things were, the intrigue was there to keep me sitting down for 5 hours or even longer. I took for Brody for a walk in the middle of it. But there was something there. I think there is something there. I think they figured it out. Great day of the week, great time of the year to do it.
Yeah,
if you get 2
I
guys,
agree.
so it might be done. So anyways, that's.
I think the other.
Or you and I up there would be fun, man.
That would be cool. I think the other thing, the couple other things that I want to touch on real quick. One, Phil's bunker shot on 18. you couldn't have more things involved in a bunker shot than what he did, from a fried egg lie to uphill lie to heavy sand to water in front of you to a pin tucked probably maybe 7 feet to 5 feet off the collar.
Yeah.
That shot he hit was amazing.
I thought I didn't know if he'd get over the water. I mean, I thought it was over right then. And Tiger's up there 7 feet for birdie.
Yeah, you could hear, like when they replayed it, you could hear the way that club popped the sand, that sand just stopped that club. I mean, to get that angle and hit down on that and make that thing pop
with
up
an
like
open
that.
face.
Well, did you see the side angle of when he was standing there from
Because
the
he
camera?
had to go in there so
Yeah.
fast.
It was incredible.
Yeah.
And I thought I was like, oh my gosh, he's going to get it to stick. And it hit the green and then it released.
Yeah.
It had to.
It stayed up there.
Oh,
my
it would have been insane. It was still an amazing shot. I mean, I look
And
at
then
that.
you didn't see earlier that he went from bunker to bunker, and he's one of the best bunker
Yeah.
players. The hole he lost, the 12th hole. He was in the bunker, went to another bunker. Everybody's shocked. And then the one he finally got out, he had to hold that one because Tiger was in there for birdie. But it was awful again. So we're like, wow, the best bunker player in the world just hit these 2 average bunker shots. And so then for him to come out and hit one of the best bunker shots.
I think
So
too,
actually, Phil might have made, no, it was par. He gave him the par putt. That would have been a bogey.
if
for
you
Phil.
think about it too, from their perspective, like as tour players, they probably know when they play on the tour events, they're on the TV, but they're not always the ones being focused on.
Right.
This is they're focused on the whole time,
Whole time.
the whole thing.
Yep.
And I think that would be really tough. The other part that I think, okay, but this is, it's not my money. I think the devastation that's happened in California, and this isn't just because of my dad. I'm talking about the shooting.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the fires in Malibu. I'm talking about Paradise.
That $9 million could have gone to a better place.
It doesn't have to be the whole thing.
You know what I mean? I get
it would have been. These guys are California boys, right?
They both are.
They
You're
are.
right. Absolutely.
If you really wanted to create some goodwill on this whole thing, and I'm not saying you had to do the whole 9, there should be some of that should have been, hey, we're donating.
Well, Phil won $600,000 from Tiger. I wonder where his charity was. We could find that out. I bet Tiger's the Tiger Woods Foundation.
Hey, can I ask a question now?
Of course.
I didn't see what the numbers were, and I heard Billy comment earlier that more people watch us and they thought we're going to watch us. What were the numbers? Do we know? Do we know what the ratings actually were for that?
I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
I will look that up. I
yeah.
tried to this morning and I couldn't find anything, but I do know that through the Facebook connections and to people I know, everybody that watched it. And a lot of the comments going, wasn't going to watch, but watched it. And then, it was just weird. That so if that's the trend, I think a lot of people watched it.
See, and that's the thing is that yesterday, and I'm pretty active on Facebook and Instagram and keep a tight eye on Twitter, and I didn't see much at all. In fact, I didn't see anything at all on Facebook, nothing at all on Instagram,
Wow.
a couple of remarks on Twitter, but it wasn't like, it's like college football weekend, you see tons of people coming. Even for Thursday night NFL football, which is usually a loser game, there's
Right.
tons of comments. I didn't see anybody commenting on it, so I was kind of wondering what the numbers actually were.
We're going to check into that. It's funny because my Facebook's all around golf, so it's probably why I saw a whole bunch of stuff.
Yeah.
All the clubs I belong to and everybody I know, right? So that's probably why I saw comments all over the place. But so it's a good point. We'll find out for you. I'm guessing that it was bigger than they anticipated. That's my guess.
Yeah, I think so too.
Just from what I heard, but it's. I don't know. Yeah, and you're right.
And
about
I don't really think it would really work with 2 other golfers, do you?
God, it would have to be. I know that's the thing. What would the 2 players be? I mean, I get it why these were the 2. I think the hype was wrong. They shouldn't hype the needling and the banter. They shouldn't have hyped that part because it wasn't there. And if they didn't hype it, they just want to go beat each other and the match, right? So without the banter, fun part, gamesmanship, that would have been a better story.
Well, and again, I agree with you, and I think the other thing they could have done is every hole, there's a side bet, like every single hole.
And they stopped doing that.
That it should be, even if it was $1,000, they should be. That's what brings me in.
Up and in closest to pin chips, things
Yeah,
like that. So
exactly.
I won $11 from Todd and won 2 from Darren.
Wow, good for
we
you.
we were side betting on
There you go.
text.
Man. All right, Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy. Be right back with Clubbing with Dave on the other side and the new rules for 2019. Stay with us. Golf Talk Radio with Mike and Billy on the Golf Talk Radio Network.